I think it has started streaming. Maybe, possibly. As always, the lighting is weird. Hi, welcome to Words Have Power. I have to do something right quick. Do 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 do. Anytime now, any day now. Also, could you grab the link and post it to Discord? Because I kind of can't. Do do do. Okay, sounds good. Alrighty, so oh, my juice fell over. All right, so in the US, you currently have ICE rolling around without any badges, patches, anything identifying them as ICE or Lisa. Good to see you here. Hit that like button, y'all. But before I get into it, hit the like button, do all the things, subscribe, everything, because I'm going to be live streaming probably 2 or 3 times a day. I'm probably going to work this like it's a job. And there's so much going on that I'm going to have to cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Otherwise, it's going to be insane. So today, let's talk about what ICE is doing and how dangerous this is. So for anyone who's new, I am ex-law enforcement. I'm a former sheriff's deputy. And also I am a former victims advocate. I also worked in private security. We did a lot of disaster relief. We build cases, many of them pro bono, against stalkers for victims who were dealing with some really gnarly things. Yeah, we did a lot of different kinds of security work. So on this particular thing, I'm going to be talking about when you work in law enforcement and you hear about someone impersonating law enforcement, all of your red flags go up. Because historically speaking, the people who are impersonating law enforcement are the ones who are up to no good. They're almost always up to no good, involving women and children, usually. So when you have ICE going around with no badges, no patches, nothing identifying them, their vehicles are unmarked. There's nothing showing, like, are they ICE or are they a local sheriff's department or is it the FBI? Like, who is it? What is it? What is going on? Is it ATF? What? And they are refusing to identify themselves. Okay. That sets a precedent that tells all of the scumbags out there that they can go around impersonating law enforcement and they'll probably get away with it because ICE is doing it right now. When I was in the sheriff's department, there was this one guy who kept doing this. He kept impersonating law enforcement. Okay. And I actually caught him doing it one time. I was sitting on the balcony of my apartment and I looked down and I saw him in his vehicle driving underneath me, pleasuring himself right there for everyone to see. Okay. Oh, right on, right on. Thank you for sharing it though. I appreciate that. So I, text my my rank and I'm like, the dude's under the balcony right now, and traffic was stopped. It was my apartment was in the French Quarter, and traffic is notoriously bad in the French Quarter, right? So he was just stuck there, thankfully, until a bunch of officers came in and swooped in, and his vehicle had one of those side lights. I forget what you call them now. I can't remember what you call those, but his vehicle looked like an unmarked police unit without the light bar. So normally, in a normal universe, law enforcement would be freaking out right now with wanting to know if they are real law enforcement or not. And around this time, you have over 300 minor children who have went missing in and around DC, Virginia, Kentucky, several other states. Children are going missing. No Amber Alerts. No nothing. So now is the time to be talking about this. Now you finally have channels like TYT talking about this. Meanwhile, we've been trying to warn people how dangerous this is since this started. We've been saying, this is going to happen. Y'all, this is bad. And now TYT is stepping up and saying something. When this first started, this should have been a specialized topic that as many people as possible started to speak about, because it's mostly going to affect Black and brown communities. And historically speaking, Latina and Hispanic women, especially if they're undocumented immigrants, typically do not like to go to law enforcement if they're harmed because it's dangerous for them. It's even more dangerous for them right now, though. So how many will come forward and say, yeah, somebody impersonated a law enforcement officer and essayed me? I'm just putting that right there. You consider everything that the U.S. is trying to bring back now. Literally, there are people in the administration who've said they want to bring back Jim Crow and, all the things, all the bad things. Who's to say they won't start grabbing people and lynching them? I'm sorry, but it just needs to be said. With these young people, these children who have gone missing, are they being trafficked? Because who does the current administration love to have in their administration? P3DOs, essayers. So we may have to move the router and all that closer, Marcus. We may have to move the router and all of that to a better location.
Okay.
Okay, so Radio Dawn, right on. It's weird that you got disconnected, but somehow I'm not surprised. Yeah, so one of the worst things when I was in law enforcement was one of, the thing that really perked your ears up and you were like, wait, what? Was someone impersonating law enforcement. That was a big deal. Now, what is even happening? Now it doesn't seem to be so much of a concern. I'm not seeing law enforcement really talking about this, and they should be. What is even happening? Because back in the day, when things like that would happen, dude, I'd never seen rank run before until there was someone impersonating law enforcement, and he was out about to be taken over to processing, and his rank was just running to get there, like angry. And part of the reason that normally law enforcement would be angry is because you go through so much training and hell just to work in that job, and then it's hell working in that job. And if you actually care about people, the last thing you want is someone out there who is going to hurt people. And that's what impersonators do. They hurt people. Why aren't these Amber Alerts going out for these children? Most of them are Black and brown children. Why are there no Amber Alerts? I've talked with people who live in those areas who first advised me of what was happening, who told me that they didn't have any Amber Alerts for these kiddos. And it appears that they are using Roblox and other apps to find young people and target them. So if you have a teen, if you have a young person, tell them to be very careful on their phone. They're tracking young people on their phones, is what it looks like. It's increasing at a horrible level. It makes you wonder which side Ellie's on. Exactly. Well, then, too, a whole bunch of stuff has come out about law enforcement like running what they call R gangs in prisons against female inmates, which has happened before. But I mean, qualified immunity needs to be abolished permanently, permabanned. None of that. Absolutely not. Because when I was working in law enforcement, there was no qualified immunity. And I can tell you, we walked on eggshells. We were careful, very careful, especially those of us who had children. And, you know, you need that health insurance. That's a big draw, or at least it was back then. It was a big draw for many of us who went into law enforcement, was the health insurance, helping our communities, being able to take decent care of our kiddos, you know, and not worry quite as much. I had my oldest daughter when I was working in LE, so you know it was good having those health insurance, the health benefits. That's for sure. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had any. I probably would have had her at home. You know, that's another thing. You're going to see a lot of women having babies in their homes, and if something goes wrong, they'll probably be arrested for it. Which is as messed up as that is if people cannot afford health insurance and they cannot afford to go to a hospital to give birth to their baby, and they have to have a home delivery, things can go wrong. And they're trying to criminalize women. They're trying to criminalize having a uterus and having a baby, and if something goes wrong, or having any kind of pregnancy complication. So with that, that makes me wonder. Being as ICE is just going into hospitals to jack people up, are they going to start going on calls? Let's say a Latino woman has a home delivery and there's something wrong and she needs to call for medical care. What happens then to the woman and to the infant? What is the US doing? These are things that people need to start thinking about and questioning, and this is bad, y'all. Here is one of my main concerns. This is a serious, significant concern for me. Serial killers can and will impersonate law enforcement when they're not supposed to. But now, apparently, it's okay to do that. So there's going to be an uptick. Serial killers will always try to go for the easiest victims they can find. Serial rapists, same thing. Now they can just go on Amazon and order fake ice tack gear and a fake badge, or just not, because they don't even bother using badges. Get a mask, grab a woman on the streets. I mean, I'm literally wondering if that is what happened to my former colleagues. were they taken up by ICE? Or were they taken up by a psycho ex who is angry at victims' advocates for giving their victim a way out? Yeah, so many of these live streams that I'm going to do are going to be a bit shorter. We're going to try to stay on topic and get the word out there. I am going to be live streaming several times a day. So I think I'm going to end this one and then we'll pick up on the next topic. Because there's a lot, y'all. There's a lot. And once I figure out how to share videos on here, I will be doing that as well. Because I have so many videos saved. So yeah. Does anyone have any questions for me? It's your chance to ask a ex-sheriff's deputy whatever you want to ask, or a former victim's advocate. See, these intersections I think are important to bring up and to provide people with background on them. And if you have questions, please, by all means, ask. And I will try to answer. Okay. I need to figure out a way to catch the link so I can share the video on all the Discords and all that stuff. I don't know how to use this streaming service yet for live streaming. Oh, hey, how you doing? Hope you're doing good. All right, so I think I'm going to try to keep these like bite-sized live streams down to like 20-25 minutes or so. Were you talking about Amber Alert? There are so many. Which case is that? Because there are so many things running through my mind right now that I can hardly even keep it straight. One issued in California. One what? Amber Alert? I'll have to wait a minute for you to respond. I'll look up that name, Amber Alert, and see. There are so many missing children in and around DC. Was it DC, Virginia, Kentucky? I think Nashville too, if I'm not mistaken. It's a lot. So just be careful over there, y'all. Derek and Jaden H. Was that the twin brothers who went missing? There's a lot going on in the US right now with young people going up missing. It's pretty bad, which is terrifying. And I hate to say it, but how many of them are currently being held by ICE? Advising parents, caregivers of young people who were taken, or really anyone, that's false imprisonment. When you are grabbing people, throwing them on the ground, like body slamming them really, and then aggressively and brutally handcuffing them. What is that called? Excessive use of force. Back in the day, that used to also be malfeasance of office. And that would be the kind of thing that would bring lawsuits. Officers would lose everything. Rightly so. Rightly so. I think if you're going to behave that way, you should lose everything. Okay, so how is the video and audio looking to y'all? Because it looks choppy on my phone. Marcus, can you check and see?
Yep.
You're in the LA area. Okay, yeah, there's a lot going on in LA. The last name was H.E. Hernandez. Okay, well, I mean, they're going after people for just having a Spanish last name. Like there was a woman who was attacked. That's what happened. She was attacked simply because she had the last name. I think it was Cortez or Ortega or something. It was just her last name. So if you're pale skinned and you think you're safe, but you have a Spanish or Latin last name, you might not be. Just putting it out there. What's really interesting is seeing all the people who are not pale skinned who are being attacked by ICE, and they're like, yeah, but I voted for him. Well, you should have thought about that, huh? Oh, it's choppy for you. Okay. Okay, well, maybe I might have to start live streaming in the other room where the router is. If it's not one thing, it's another. Like the camera looks better now, but the video is choppy. We'll get it figured out. It's fine. All right, I'm going to leave this one off here, and I might adjust some things so that the internet connection is better. Thank you all for being here. If you made it to this far, if you made it to the end, thank you. I appreciate you. If it's choppy and everything, I apologize. We'll try to fix it. Do all the things, share, like, subscribe, everything. And remember, you have the right to freedom of movement and freedom of speech. And law enforcement is supposed to identify themselves if they're going to try to detain you for any reason. They're supposed to identify themselves. Always.